Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Allie. I forgot to do an intro for this video, so here it is. This is a weekday reading vlog, although I didn't really read anything on Friday, which you will see, so enjoy. Good morning. It is early on Monday. That's why I'm being quiet. I am about to start work, but I wanted to let you know that last night I got to page 320 of this book. I'll talk about it more when I'm not about to start work. And I did want to finish it today, so I got the audiobook just to finish this last bit. So hopefully the next time you see me, I have a full update, full sort of review. I will say that I didn't have high hopes when I first started. The first couple chapters, I was like, oh, I don't know if I'm gonna like this. And then there were so many different like reveals, and I don't know, everyone's very tricky in this book. You cannot believe like anyone, and that has been really fun. I think it's a little convoluted at this sort of dramatic part that we're at right here, but I think we're gonna have another revelation that I thought I saw coming, but we'll see. So far, I haven't really been right about much. All right, I'm on my lunch break now, and I have finished this book, and I don't know. I feel like I just don't know what I think. This is about a guy who works in hell. And in that way, it's kind of like The Good Place, where there's this humor in just a situation that's happening. It's funny, all the drab, relatable workplace happening, but in this weird, bizarre setting. And there's funny things like in hell, you have to use 5 pens before one of them works. Or in bars, they only serve Jägermeister, which made me actually gag. Just reading it, that would be awful. There's a new coworker on the scene, and our main character, Peyote, his name is Peyote Trip. He takes her under his wing, sort of. Then there's a whole nother part of the story. There's multiple point of views here. And all the other point of views besides our main character, Peyote, is this family. And Peyote's job is to get humans to sign their souls away for whatever reason, and he's after this family because he's gotten 4 generations of them to sign, and this is gonna like give him a big promotion. So you have Peyote's funny sort of time, just him in his workplace life, but then you have this whole family drama. I was really thinking that these two were gonna be more connected, the two stories, but weirdly enough, they weren't. And I really think that's kind of strange. It almost feels like 2 completely different stories. I feel like the family story was way more intriguing, but Peyote was an interesting character, or actually the new co-worker, Cow, is probably the most interesting character in this book. Like I said earlier, I didn't have the highest hopes going in because there was a lot of info dump. And it was so annoying to me, just in this specific pet peeve personal thing of mine. So I was like, oh God, I don't think I'm gonna like this. And it really got a lot better. It was really entertaining. There were a few sort of reveals, or like I said earlier, some trickiness, and it made it more fun and energetic. I think the ending was kind of rushed, especially with the amount of information we were getting about this world building in the beginning. There were a lot of things that happened in the end that just wasn't explained, and it doesn't really match up. So at the end of the day, I think I'm gonna give this a 3.5 because the intrigue level was up there. I wanted to know what this family drama was, and there were good revelations. And even though I did end up guessing a couple things at the end, I think earlier I said I hadn't, but turns out I had. I'm so smart, oh my God. I'm just very impressed that this is a debut novel. I'm very intrigued of where this author goes in the future. All right, guys, I am done with work, and I think I might want to start We Spread. It's becoming a little bit of a horror weekend. Or no, it's Monday. Oh, that's depressing. It looks fallish, and I know I'm gonna love it. This is a 5-star prediction, and I need to rein in my expectations just in case. This is about an older woman who ends up in a nursing home, and she starts thinking she's losing her mind, and she can't tell if it's her brain just like deteriorating or if there's something weird going on in this nursing home. Okay, so our main character's name is Penny. Let's read the first sentence together. Part 1, he was an artist. Okay. Oh my gosh. Okay, so this author's book called Foe is being adapted for a film starring Saoirse Ronan, who I'm obsessed with. Okay, not even kidding. I just read the first chapter. It was 7 pages, and I think I'm gonna love it. It's very cool how it's written, first of all, I think it's gonna make me cry like crazy, and it's gonna make me not want to be old. She's talking about her partner that she lived with for so long, and he has passed away now. It's just kind of depressing how she's talking about how everything kind of becomes meaningless, and she ended up knowing him so well that it was almost like, I don't know, it sounded depressing as fuck, okay? But the way it's structured, it's sort of in these tiny little fractions of thoughts. She's zeroing in on tiny little details around her house of all these things that she surrounded her life with and how they're meaningless. I love detailed writing, but in case you don't, I feel like the pace of it is really fast because of these like broken up paragraphs. I know this is gonna be a weekly reading vlog, so I'm gonna try not to like obsess and really talk heavily about the structure of writing itself. So I'm gonna get back to you when I get 25% of the way through. All right, I got 25% through. I'm on page 74 and still loving it. At this point, she is now in this weird nursing home. And I say weird because it's like only 4 residents in this home. It's more a house. And it is very unsettling just how she ended up there, because she's being told that her husband set all of this up for her and she has no memory of this. And her husband is sounding more and more like he was kind of a dick. I'm just so paranoid because our main character Penny is paranoid that someone is working against her and lying to her, and I don't think she's wrong. There's a couple people talking to her like she's already been told about this, but no, I don't think so. I believe my girl Penny. I just finished. I was spoiled for this today. I was watching a video of someone's wrap up and wow, yeah. So I'm kind of bummed about that, and I think I would have enjoyed it a little bit more had this really come from nowhere. But if you have read this book and you've read, I was just gonna say the name of the book that there's a similar thing in it that I read this year, but I can't, because in case you've read that one and not this, I don't want to spoil it for you. But it's interesting that it's the second book that kind of has something similar in it. I'm not explaining anything. At first, when Penny gets to the nursing home, things are looking better. She finally has an appetite. She finally can sleep throughout the night. Her aches and pains are less. But then soon, it's just creepy. Even just the first day getting there, even though it was kind of nice, everyone was just like, we've been waiting for you. Like, this would have been a fun Halloween read. But overall, this is unsettling and it is just weird. It's a weird book, but it wasn't weird in a 5-star way for me. However, I really did enjoy it. I'm very interested in this author's style of writing. I don't know, I think there is a part of me, and I'm saying that it's because I was spoiled, but I feel like I could see where it was going, like even before the halfway mark. So a part of me is a little disappointed that there wasn't something even weirder. Is that weird of me to want something weirder than what I just read? I think so, because this was pretty fucking weird. I do like how it ended. I'm being so vague, so it's not really fun for anyone to listen to this unless you've read this. So my apologies, I'm gonna stop talking. I think I'm gonna give this a 4 out of 5, and I will be checking out this author's other, oh look, this author has a dog. I'm sure it wasn't the intent of this author or this book to scare me for getting old, but I kind of am now. I mean, the main character Penny, she's an old lady and she's complaining about her joints and her back and her aches and pains. And I am 28 years old and I complain about the same shit, and that is not okay. So it makes me want to like exercise for the first time in my entire life, because if I'm achy now, I can only imagine when I'm like 70, 80, 90 years old. Now though, let me think about what I'm gonna read tomorrow. I've been trying to listen to audiobooks while I'm working and I just can't do it. My concentration for some reason the past few days have been really, really bad. And obviously I wanna put my best work out there when I'm getting paid for it. So I don't know if an audiobook is in my future for tomorrow. Love in Other Words by Christina Lauren. It's due, the audiobook from my library is due in like 2 days, so I really do want to finish it. So maybe I will focus on that on my lunch break and after work tomorrow. I guess you'll see. Sometimes I think to myself, this is so uninteresting, and I'm so sorry about that. But what the heck, we've already started, so we're gonna see this work week through. Hello, happy hump day. I am going to go on a walk before I talk myself out of it. And I'm gonna be listening to Love in Other Words by Christina Lauren, like I said. This is a second chance romance, but also friendship, childhood friendship to lovers, which is my favorite genre because, or I mean my favorite trope, at least one of them. I feel like I'm definitely getting more as I read more romance, but childhood friendship to lovers, maybe it's because we all had crushes when we were kids, that it's just like this weird satisfaction that comes with it, but also it's usually really heavy if it's done well, with a lot of emotional impact and a lot of, I guess, romantic punch more than just sexual, although it's always a plus when that's in there too. I've listened to, I think like 2 weeks ago, I listened to 16% of it. I was just going through it. I was so excited because I've tried Christina Lauren's other books before, The Soulmate Equation and The Unhoneymooners, and I thought it was kind of boring, or they were kind of boring. But this one so far has got me, but because I stopped it and now I'm going back in, I'm hoping that the same sort of engagement is there for me. There are 2 timelines going on, and I'm definitely more interested in the timeline of these 2 meeting and falling in love. They're like 14 years old right now. So I think we're gonna get a lot of insight into what happened. And then they haven't talked in like, I don't know, 10 years, give or take. And now they are in the same city. They're like grown up. I think it's only one point of view from her point of view. She is engaged to someone else. And so they saw each other by chance, although I can't tell if they ended up breaking up before because of something weird. I don't know. I get kind of weird vibes from this main guy just because they see each other at this coffee shop, and the next day he stalks her, goes to her place of work, says that he looked up her schedule so that he knew she would be there, and then proceeds to tell her that he dumped his girlfriend the night before after seeing her because he just couldn't go on knowing that he still loved this girl. That's a level of intensity that is crossing too many lines, and it's creepy, okay? So I'm wondering if it's gonna go into that, and maybe this, I don't know, it'd be kind of cool if this turns into like a weird thriller. So I have no idea what to expect. Can we all agree that that sounds inappropriate? It's just too much, too much, too much, too much. Goodness, I feel so productive. I went for a long walk because I wanted to listen to more of my book. And walking uphill, I'm sorry, when did that become hard? I am getting so fucking old. But yes, I feel good. I took a shower, I dried my hair, I folded laundry. I would usually just be on my phone trying not to fall asleep at this point after work. So I think I'm a new fan of going for a walk. Some of you are probably like actual athletes and you work out because it feels good, and I sound so silly, but I don't ever exercise, and this is just mind-blowing to me. You know, it was funny though, I was on my walk and I was listening to this book, and I kept having to like pretend look at my phone because I was smiling like an idiot and I didn't want to look like a psycho. So I had to like pretend I was texting someone, because the way that the past tense storyline, or the time frame, what's it called? Timeline. I know I said that Elliot, who was the guy, he sounded so creepy in the present as a grown-up, but now that I've seen him as a kid, I think we've spanned 2 or 3 years now. A good young man, he seems smart and very respectful, and I love them. Our main girl's name is Macy, which is a character in a Sarah Dessen novel, just saying. At this point, it's so very obvious in the past timeline that these two teens who are like 16, 17 are so fucking in love with each other, and it just makes my heart so warm. The innocent, pure first love. And I'm still so much more interested in that storyline than in what's happening in the present. I think it is kind of cool that Macy, who, like I said, is engaged, her fiance, he's not a bad guy, at least not yet, and I hope he stays that way. I hope it just ends up being a more nuanced thing, like, you know what, she's just in love with someone else, and I hope they don't make him a villain, because I think that's way more realistic. I say that, but I've never been in a situation, first of all, I didn't have a childhood love. Well, not one this good. But yeah, no sort of drama has ever happened in my relationship like this. So I don't know why I'm saying it's realistic, but it feels more genuine. Anyway, I'm going to listen to this probably for the rest of the night, so you probably won't hear my thoughts until the very end. Right now, I'm loving it. I'm having so much fun. I have squealed several times, and that is my litmus test for how much I love a romance, like how much I literally squeal out loud like a little pig. All right, guys, I finished it. The second half is definitely not as fun as the first half. The second half mostly had to deal with them getting to this point of the third act conflict, which is so weird because it happened in the past. And I just think it took too long for that to happen. And I thought maybe, I don't know. I mean, there was a sad part that I teared up at. If you read the book, you probably know what I'm talking about. But I feel like the more I read, the more annoyed I was at the present couple and situation. Just because if someone's acting immature and they're 17 years old or even 18 years old, it's okay. Like, you get it. They have to learn their lessons. But if they're acting like that 14 years later or however many years later, it's so annoying. And part of it does feel like a forced third act kind of thing. So not to spoil anything, but this guy is obviously in love with this girl. That's how romance novels work. And he's been so patient and kind, and then she waits literally 10 seconds to just breathe before responding to him about something, and he literally just leaves. It doesn't make any sense based on his character of what we've been told so far. So I don't know. I think this is one of the best romances I've read this year though. When I'm thinking back about it, just like the build up in the past timeline, although it is so uncomfortable the older I get reading about teenagers having sex. Like if I had read this in high school, I would have been obsessed. But it is kind of icky feeling. I don't know why. I never used to have this problem even just like 5 years ago. So anyway, those are some of my thoughts about this book. Definitely let me know what you think down below. Hey guys, welcome back. Wait, this isn't a new video, okay? It is Thursday, and I forgot that tomorrow is a holiday. It's Veterans Day, so it's like my Friday. I'm on a break. I still have 2 hours to go, but today so far, I listened to The Princess Diaries. This was one of those rereads that you don't have to take too much brain power for. For those of you that don't know, I'm sure you've heard of the movie at least. This is about a teenage girl who figures out that she's a princess and just her being a teenager but dealing with that. And I think this was written in the late 90s, so it is funny reading about like how she couldn't get her friend on the phone because her brother was on the internet. I forget that was a time that we had. And the dial tone, oh my gosh. So that was really fun, and it was narrated by Anne Hathaway, who played her in the movie. I read these in I think I started in elementary school, but I continued reading them. I think they go on for a long time, so I probably read like the first 8 maybe. And I do remember that at one point, they acknowledged that there were movies made, and I thought they were talking fictionally, but they referenced things that are in the actual movie, like how they had that basketball hoop up on top of the school. It's so funny that this book that turned into a movie is referencing this movie as in, oh my gosh, I can't believe they made a movie about this. I just remember that blew my mind, the meta of it, when I was in middle school. So my library in Hawaii has all of the audiobooks. So I'm going to, as they become available, because believe it or not, people have holds on them. I can't even just get them right away. I will be continuing the series because it's so fun, it's so fast, and it's in diary form, obviously The Princess Diaries. But after work, I think I'm going to start Happenstance by Tessa Bailey. This is her newest release. It just came out on Tuesday, and it's a reverse harem story. I think about a woman who's a reporter and 3 men that she meets. And I think this started, if I if I remember what I read correctly, so take this with a grain of salt, that she started it because someone suggested it on TikTok, so she did it as sort of a joke, but then she ended up finishing it, and so she gave it to us, and I'm so curious. I said in my TBR that Tessa Bailey has been hit or miss with me, mostly misses, but I'm always very entertained, and I've never DNF'd one of her books. But I also haven't read an independently published book of hers yet, so I definitely want to try this out. Okay, the last 2 hours of my shift, I was talking on and off with my foster mom, and so I'm officially going on a book buying ban for the first time of my booktube career because I am planning on going home and visiting my foster family. And a round trip from Hawaii to Florida and back, it's like $1,500, which is insane. That's more than my couch costs. That's more than my washer and dryer together cost. So yeah, no more buying books for a few months. Luckily, I have all these books to read and my entire library. Y'all, I have not been nearly as productive today. I've just been watching YouTube videos and trying not to fall asleep. Not because the videos are boring, but because I am tired. So I think it's time I need to get into some Tessa Bailey and wake up a little bit. Okay, sorry, we are 3% in, and in the first chapter, she has gone onto a tram. I think that's like one of those cable cars that bring you up a mountain or something. Am I just making that up? Anyway, there's 3 guys in there. And this British guy is the first dude that's talking to her. And the first few things out of his mouth are just annoying. And she is annoyed by it, so that feels right. But then the second thing he says out of his mouth is, she's just looking at him. And he just says, porn. Or I guess he's British, so he says, porn. You know me from pornography, darling. And then he says, the good shit. Well, Tessa Bailey got me laughing, so I guess mission accomplished. Okay, I just finished the first chapter. I'm like 5% through with the book. Read into a little bit of the second chapter. I think this is gonna be a fun fucking time and silly and absurd. I think that is definitely the purpose of the book, but I don't think I'm in that mood. First of all, she's in this tram with 3 hulking men, strangers, and her first instinct is to, first of all, not freak out. I would honestly be so scared if I was just stuck. Oh, the tram got stuck. It's like frozen and the electricity in it went out. And so they're stuck in the middle of the air and she has 3 huge men in this car with her. My first instinct was honestly kind of scared. I think just as a woman, I feel like some of you might also agree, maybe not, I don't know. That would be my first instinct, to just be like, oh my God, I'm stuck up here with 3 strange men that I don't know. I feel like whenever I'm in a situation like in an elevator with one, God forbid, even more men, I'm thinking about the size of them. I don't know if that's like weird or rude, but I'm literally thinking this person could choke me and kill me right now. So I would be freaking out in a non-sexual way. I don't think that gets this dark, but it sounds like there's also going to be some sort of like crime mystery, because that's what our main character is reporting on, or trying to report on. But our first instinct on this tram is to grab the nearest man and just hug him because it's cold. So yeah, I'm definitely going to be reading that, maybe like at the end of the night in little bits. Right now, I can't take it. Although, watch me in the next clip be like, you know what? I'll keep reading it. Guys, I told you so, okay? I'm gonna read more. I started a little bit of this book, Station Eternity, because I was like, maybe I need a new genre. This is mystery, science fiction, but I think I'm just letting the bad reviews that I've read get to my head already within the first 10 pages. Not to say it's bad, it's just that I'm being so judgy, it's annoying to both me and probably the book. I'm so sorry. So because I seem to be in a weird, moody little mood, I think I'm just gonna go in with the Tessa Bailey, because at least it's making me laugh, you know? I'll let you know when someone starts taking their clothes off. Okay, I got to 11%. I think that was like 3 chapters. And I think I'm gonna stop here. I know I said that before, but I feel like the way it ended is a perfect, almost short story, because they were stuck on this dark, cold tram and they took turns hugging her because she was cold, which is probably the most infuriating part of it, because they are on this broken down, cold, dark tram in the middle of God knows where. And they initiate their interest in each other because, first of all, they're like already telling their life stories. And then I think I said that the main girl gets cold and one of the guys just like hugs her. And then he gets he gets a boner, and so the other guy has to step in and make sure she's warm. And then he gets a phone call, and then the other guy has to step in and make sure she's warm, which is just annoying. Like that's what brings it together, is that she's just this little woman who needs to be warm. But whatever, it's funny. And then all of a sudden, I mean, if you time this out, they're probably in there for 10 minutes before they converge on her. She's kissing one of them, another one's about to do something, and then the other one, and then the lights come on, which was actually perfect, because I was like, oh my God, first of all, it's about to get real stinky in this tram, because she keeps talking about everyone's breathing and how they're like all panting. And I'm just thinking, that cannot smell fresh. And she kind of gets overwhelmed. They didn't end up doing anything, but she just runs. One of the guys is this sort of sarcastic British guy. He's the porn star. I don't know, he gives me Spike from Buffy vibes. And then there's a proper guy who's very upright and has this sort of psychic connection with her. And he is described as a Duke from the Bridgerton series. And then we have this big bear, but like sweet and quiet construction worker. So she's got all her bases covered. And you know what? Good for her, good for her. Oh, what was the other funny thing I was gonna say? Oh, is the fact that when one of the guys was hugging her, within the first 5 minutes, like of them ever meeting, including the porn star who's definitely been around because he's bragging about it, ew, is that every time one of the guys is hugging her, the other two are looking on like jealously, like they wanna punch him, which is just, they just met 5 minutes ago. And the thing I do like about Tessa Bailey is, though, even though she has these crazy, ridiculous things in her books, it almost is acceptable. And I don't mean just like having a harem of men loving you. That's not that ridiculous, okay? But I mean like someone getting jealous after knowing someone for the first 5 minutes, which honestly would be the biggest red flag in my opinion. But because our main character is noticing these weird things and she's commenting that they are weird. Like, oh my gosh, I can't believe this is happening. And the fact that this is all like in the dark, in this very enclosed space, in this sort of setting and experience that isn't normal, kind of does add to like, oh wow, this is just some sort of feverish dream, non-reality kind of thing where I could take a risk. So Tessa Bailey, you dirty, dirty girl, you've done it again. I am interested because I'm glad they stopped where they did, because it makes it more intriguing. Like, well, how are they gonna get together again? Like, what is the setup? How is this gonna progress? Those are questions that I will have answered eventually. First of all, my husband's about to get home and I still get nervous just talking about regular books just in front of him because I am not shy. There's no way I'm shy. No one believed that for a second. But I am deeply uncomfortable like talking to a camera and have someone looking at me because I just feel judged. Even though my husband loves me, obviously. And he's heard me, like I tell him, I'm gonna tell him all about this book when he gets home, but I can't have him looking at me while I'm telling you about it. Good morning. Oh wait, let me make some coffee. Much better. All right, I didn't end up reading shit today, but we're going out with some friends. So I did read 4 books and I feel good about that. Do you wanna say hi? All right, we have to go. Stop, you're making me so nervous. Thank you so much for watching and I'll see you guys in the next video.